Hello students, I welcome you all to my YouTube channel, Thermal Engineering by Manoj Shinde. In this video lecture, we will see the very important derivation, that is a condition for maximum blade efficiency of a two-stage impulse turbine, which comes under the course Turbo Machines, module number 3 of steam turbines. Okay, so these video lectures are exclusively made for VTU students, those who are studying mechanical engineering 5th semester. Okay, so today's class is very important from your external examination point of view. So in this video lecture, we will see the condition for maximum blade efficiency of a two-stage impulse turbine. At the beginning, we will see how to draw the combined velocity triangle for two-stage impulse turbine, and after that we'll proceed for the derivation. Okay, so let's focus on how to draw the combined velocity triangle for two-stage impulse turbine. So this is the common base U. This is the common base U. U stands for the tangential velocity of the runner or tangential velocity of the blade. So next one is V1. V1 is the velocity of steam at the outlet of nozzle. So V1 is velocity of steam at the outlet of nozzle, and alpha 1 is the angle for V1. Next, this is VR1. VR1 is the relative velocity component at the inlet. Next, the vertical component of V1 is VF1. V of 1 is nothing but the flow velocity component at the inlet. It should be perfectly vertical in nature. Okay, next. So VR1 makes an angle beta 1 with respect to horizontal, and its horizontal component is VU1. So VU1, that is horizontal velocity component, or VU1 is also known as the tangential velocity component at the inlet. Okay. Now the corresponding outlet velocity triangle is, this is VR2, this is VR2, this is the V2. V2 is the velocity of steam at the outlet of first row of moving blade. Okay. Next, its vertical component is VF2, the flow velocity component at the outlet. Join these 2 points. Now V2 makes an angle alpha 2 with respect to horizontal, and VR2 makes an angle beta 2 with respect to horizontal, and its horizontal component is VU2. Its horizontal component is VU2. Let us name all the points here: A, B, C, D, E, and F. This is a combined velocity triangle for stage 1. For stage 1. Now the corresponding combined velocity triangle for stage 2 is, let us take a locus from point C and point D here. Okay. Now this is the common base U. U remains constant because both the runners are mounted on the same shaft. Both the runners, that is moving blade, are mounted on the same shaft, so that's why U remains constant. Right. So this is the V3, the velocity of steam at the inlet of second row of moving blade. VR3, the relative velocity component at the inlet of second row of moving blade. And the vertical component of V3 is again VF3. Similarly, join these 2 points. For V3, the angle alpha 3. For VR3, the angle is beta 3. The angle is beta 3. And its horizontal component is VU3. Its horizontal component is VU3, the tangential velocity component at the inlet. Now, in the previous video lecture, we have seen how to draw the combined velocity triangle for the two-stage impulse turbine, exclusively for the condition maximum blade efficiency for the two-stage impulse turbine. Okay, the condition for maximum blade efficiency of two-stage impulse turbine. So, in order to obtain the maximum blade efficiency, the work obtained from both the turbines, it must be maximum. The total work obtained from both the stages, it must be maximum as possible. So when it will become maximum? When the velocity of steam which is coming out from last row of moving blade, if it is minimum, then the work obtained will be maximum. If total work is maximum, ultimately the blade efficiency or stage efficiency will be maximum. Okay. So when V4 is vertical in nature or V4 is equals to VF4, then that will be the condition for maximum blade efficiency. Okay. So let us draw it. Let us see how to draw the outlet velocity triangle. So this is VR4, the relative velocity component at the outlet. And if V4 is equals to VF4, then that will be the condition for maximum blade efficiency. And in this condition, VU4 will be equals to 0. VU4 will be equals to 0. There is no build velocity at the outlet. Okay. So this is the diagram of the combined velocity triangle for a two-stage impulse turbine. So F, this is G, H, I, J, and lastly here is K. Here it is K. Before proceeding for the solution, let us do some assumptions. Assumptions in the sense, the moving blades are equiangular in nature and fixed blades are also equiangular in nature. Okay. So just observe this figure carefully. This is a set of nozzle in the first set of moving blade and the first stage. This is a set of nozzle. Next, we have the set of moving blades. This is a row of fixed blade, and lastly we have the set of moving blades here. For nozzle, the angle is alpha 1. These are the moving blades. Moving blade. This is also the last row of moving blade, and this is a fixed blade FB. Angle alpha is used for nozzle and fixed blade, and angle beta is used for moving blades. So alpha 1 for moving blades, it is beta 1 and beta 2, which represents inlet and outlet tip angle respectively. For the fixed blades, already we have used alpha 1, here it is alpha 2 and alpha 3. And now last set of moving blades, we have beta 3 and beta 4 respectively. Beta 3 and beta 4 respectively. Okay. We will do some assumptions here. While deriving the equation, first assumption is the moving blades are equiangular. The moving blades are equiangular. That is, beta 1 is equals to beta 2 and also beta 3 is equals to beta 4. Both the rows of moving blades are having the equiangular blade angles. Okay, they are equiangular. Beta 1 equals to beta 2 and beta 3 equals to beta 4. Similarly, the fixed blades are also equiangular. That is, alpha 2 is equals to alpha 3. Similarly, the velocity at which the steam enters the fixed blade is equals to velocity of steam which is coming out from the fixed blade. That is, V2 must be equals to V3. V2 must be equals to V3. And also we will do some more assumptions like VR1 equals to VR2. VR1 equals to VR2. That is, the relative velocity component at the inlet of moving blade is equals to relative velocity component at the outlet. That is, VR1 equals to VR2. Similarly, VR3 is equals to VR4. So these are some assumptions. These are some assumptions which are made, which are used for doing the derivations. So kindly copy these things so that we can proceed for the solution or the derivation or the derivation. Okay, I hope you have the copy each and every step here. You can run this now. Okay, now you can note down few points. The velocity triangle for first stage and second stage of a Curtis turbine. So two-stage impulse turbine is also known as Curtis stage. Write down the velocity triangle for first stage and second stage of Curtis turbine are shown in figure above. The speed and angle should be so selected that the final absolute velocity V4, must be axial. That is, V4 must be axial or vertical in nature, so as to obtain the maximum blade efficiency. So the tangential speed of both the runners are same. That is u for the first stage is equals to u for the second stage. U for the first and second stage are same. The tangential velocity for both the runners are same as they are mounted on the same shaft. Okay, next line. Since all the moving blades are mounted on the same shaft, the tangential speed is same. Next, in the first row of moving blade, the work done per kg of steam. Write down work done per kg of steam. Per kg of steam in first row. In first row. First row of moving blade. Okay, so that is WD is given by WD is given by work done per kg of steam by the first row of moving blade. It is given by U by GC into VU1 plus VU2. VU1 plus VU2. This is a formula for work done per kg of steam by the runner. So these things we have studied in the module number 2, that is Euler's turbine equation, U by GC into VU1 plus VU2. Now here sometimes here we have to take the minus sign, or sometimes we have to take the positive sign. So when we have to take the positive sign and when we have to take the negative sign, listen here carefully. If the direction of VU1 and VU2 are opposite to each other, if the direction of VU1 and VU2 are opposite to each other, it may be towards each other or away from each other. If VU1 and VU2 direction is opposite, then we supposed to take the positive sign here. Okay, so if we observe this velocity triangle, so the horizontal component of V1 is VU1. So VU1 is towards left here, VU1 is towards left. And what about V2? So the horizontal component of V2 is VU2. So the direction of VU2 is towards right. So the direction of V1 and VU2 are opposite to each other. So that's why by rule we have to consider the positive side in this equation. Okay, or this equation can also be written as U by GC into delta VU1. So the algebraic sum of VU1 and VU2 is delta VU1 here. The algebraic sum of VU1 and VU2 is delta VU1, and the algebraic sum of VU3, okay, VU4 is equals to 0, no problem. So delta VU2 is the total distance between H2J, that is here VU2 is equals to VU3 only. Delta VU2 is equals to VU3 only, because there is no velocity at the outlet of last row of moving. Now keep it as equation number 1 here. Keep it as equation number 1. Now here delta V1 can also be written as listen here carefully. So delta V1 is, let me write delta VU is equals to BC plus CE. BC plus CE. From this velocity triangle ABC, from this right angle triangle, what I can write? Cos beta 1 is equals to base is BC divided by the hypotenuse is VR1. Cos beta 1 equals to base by hypotenuse, or BC equals to VR1 cos beta 1. VR1 cos beta 1. Similarly, if we take a triangle FEC, triangle FEC, cos beta 2 is equals to, the base is CE divided by hypotenuse is VR2, or CE can also be written as VR2 cos beta 2. I can write BE, the total distance BE, that is delta VO, as in two parts, BC plus CE. BC plus CE. BC as VR1 cos beta 1 and CE as VR2 cos beta 1. So VR1 cos beta 1 plus VR2 cos beta 2. Hope this is clear. Now, while doing the assumptions, we have seen that beta 1 is equals to beta 2, VR1 equals to VR2. Okay? By assumption, assume beta 1 equals to beta 2 since the moving plates are equiangular, and also for the ideal condition VR1 is equals to VR. So beta 1, beta 2 both are same, VR1, VR2 both are same. So delta VU1 is equals to 2 times VR1 cos beta 1. 2 times VR1 cos beta 1 here. Okay. Now listen here carefully. How I can write VR1 cos beta 1 as? So VR1 cos beta 1 is BC. Let me take it as X. Okay. Now how I can write X as BC as the total length BD minus U. BD minus U. I repeat it once again. I want the BC or X. What is X here? VR1 cos beta 1. VR1 cos beta 1 is a base BC. So this can also be written as the total length BD minus U. Okay, so the total length is BD. How I can write BD as? Listen here carefully. With this velocity triangle ABD, it can be written as cos alpha 1 equals to base is BD by V1. BD by V1. Okay, so or BD equals to V1 cos alpha 1. BD equals to V1 cos alpha 1. Is that clear all of you? BD equals to V1 cos alpha 1. So BD minus U here. So delta VU1 can also be written as 2 times. How I can write VR1 as the total BD? BD is nothing but V1 cos alpha 1. V1 cos alpha 1 minus U as it is. Minus U as it is. So this is the delta VU1 term. Ultimately, what is our main aim? Our main aim is to write all the angles in terms of alpha 1, because final form of equation will be strictly in terms of alpha 1 only. Okay, so that's why we are doing this. Okay, now here let us substitute this delta VU1 in equation number 1 using in equation number 1. So work done per kg of steam by the first runner, that is W1. Let me take this as W1 equals to U by GC as it is. U by GC as it is. And delta VU is 2. Here 2U. Let me write here 2U. 2U equals to. Okay. So here V1 cos alpha 1 minus U as it is. Okay. So this is the work obtained from the first set of moving plates, first row of moving plates. So keep it as equation number 2. Keep it as equation number 2. Now, similarly, for the second stage, I can write it as, work done per kg of steam, work done per kg of steam, work done per kg of steam in second row. So I can write it as W2 equals to, listen here carefully, here also same U by GC into VU3 plus VU4. VU3 plus VU4. And of course, VU4 is equals to 0. So VU3 can also be written as delta VU2. Delta VU2. U by GC into delta VU2. Now listen here carefully, how to write the delta VU2 as. So let us take it as equation number 3. Now how to write the delta VU2 as. So delta VU2 can be written as, listen here carefully. So delta VU2 is nothing but VU3. So how to write VU3 here? VU3 is nothing but, so if we take the triangle GHJ, listen here carefully. If we consider the triangle GHJ, so how we can write the VU2 as or VU3 as, that is cos alpha 3 equals to, the base is VU3 You can take VU3 or delta VU2, both are same, divided by the hypothesis V3, or VU3 or delta VU2 is equals to V3 cos alpha 3. This is V3 cos alpha 3 here. V3 cos alpha 3. Fine. I hope this is clear. I hope this is clear. Okay. Now V3 is equals to V2. V3 is equals to V2, and also, okay, fine. Okay. Now after this step, just listen here carefully. This is delta VU2. How to write the delta VU2 as? Okay. So delta VU2 is nothing but the total base VU3, or the total distance between H to J. So this H to J can also be written as HI plus IJ. HI plus IJ. How to write the HI? HI as VR3 cos beta 3. VR3 cos beta 3 is HI. See here. From the triangle GHI, cos beta 3 equals to base is HI divided by hypotenuse is VR3, or HI equals to VR3 cos beta 3, VR3 cos beta 3. Similarly, from the triangle KJI, how to write the IJ as? IJ is nothing but VR4. This is of course beta 4 here. Okay, so IJ can also be written as VR4 cos beta 4. VR4 cos beta. Okay, so HI plus IJ is total length HJ. HJ is nothing but delta VU. Okay, so delta VU2 is equals to VR3 cos beta 3, VR3 cos beta 3 plus VR4 cos beta 4, VR4 cos beta 4 3. Now, while doing the assumptions, we have seen that VR3 is equals to VR4, and similarly beta 3 is equal to beta 4. The blades are equiangular, and if we ignore any kind of frictional losses, then we can say VR3 equals to VR4 here. Okay, so now delta VU2 equals to VR3 cos beta 3 plus VR3 here, we can write VR3 cos beta 3. So 2 times VR3 cos beta 3 here. 2 times VR3 cos beta 3. Okay, now listen here carefully. So VR3 cos beta 3 can also be written as, right? So VR3 cos beta 3. So VR3 cos beta 3 is HI. So this HI can also be written as total length HJ minus total length HJ minus. How to write the HJ? HJ is cos V3 cos alpha 3. How to write HJ? Listen here carefully. So this is, let us take it as Y. Let us take it as Y. I line VR3 cos beta 3. So VR3 cos beta 3 is HI. So this HI or Y can also be written as HJ minus U. How to write HJ? HJ is V3 cos alpha 3. Okay. So 2, it is outside the bracket. Let me write outside the bracket. So V3 cos alpha 3, V3 cos alpha 3 minus U. V3 cos alpha 3 minus U here. Is that clear all of you? Fine. Okay, I'll repeat it once again. VR3 cos beta 3 is Y. Y can be written as HJ minus U, where HJ is V3 cos alpha 3 minus U. V3 cos alpha 3 minus U into 2, which is outside the bracket. It remains as it is. Now, while doing the assumptions, we have seen that V2 is equals to V3, and also alpha 2 is equals to alpha 3. V2 equals to V3, alpha 2 equals to alpha 3 here. Is that clear? So in the next step, I can write it as, In the next step, I can write it as delta VU2 equals to so 2 times, instead of V3, I can write V2 and cos alpha 2 minus U as it is. Cos alpha 2 minus U as it is. So V2 cos alpha 2. V2 cos alpha 2 is DE here. V2 cos alpha 2 is DE here. So how to write the DE as? I can write the DE as so total CE minus U. CE minus CD is DE. Okay. See, V2 cos alpha 2. V2 cos alpha 2 is this DE. So DE can also be written as CE minus U. So what is CE here? CE is VR2 cos beta 2. CE is VR2 cos beta 2. So here delta VU2 equals to 2 times V2 cos alpha 2 is this. So total base is CE. CE is VR2 cos beta 2. VR2 cos beta 2 minus U here. Minus U. And here minus U as it is. I repeat it once again. Listen it carefully, guys. Delta VU2 equals to V2 cos alpha 2. देखिए यहाँ पे V2 cos alpha 2 is DE. So DE can also be written as, let me take it as Z. So this Z can be written as CE minus U. CE minus U. How to write CE as VR2 cos beta 2. VR2 cos beta 2 minus U as it is. And finally, I can take U which is as it is. Okay. And the last step of delta VU2, I can write it as delta VU2 equals to 2 times VR2 cos beta 2 minus 2U as it is. Minus U minus U minus 2U. Minus U minus U minus 2U here. Is that clear, all of you? Okay. Now listen here carefully. Let us continue with the last step. The previous step. So delta VU2, how we can write delta VU2? So this is a continuation of last step. 2 times VR2 cos beta 2 minus 2U as it is. Minus 2U as it is. Okay. So in doing the assumptions, we have seen that VR1 equals to VR2 and beta1 equals to beta 2. So right here, delta VU2 equals to 2 times, instead of VR2, right here VR1 cos beta 1 minus 2U as it is. Similarly, repeat the same step, same procedure, just write that complete term, that is beta 1 in terms of alpha 1. So VR1 cos beta 1, VR1 cos beta 1, how to write this VR1 cos beta 1 here? Listen it carefully. So how to write the VR1 cos beta 1 as? So that is total base CE minus U, CE minus U. So VR1 cos beta 1 is this, that is X. X can also be written as VD minus U. VD is V1 cos alpha 1 minus U. V1 cos alpha 1 minus U here. Okay? So now look here carefully. Delta VU2 equals to 2 times, how to write VR1 cos beta 1? That is V1 cos alpha 1 minus U. V1 cos alpha 1 minus U minus 2U as it is. Or delta VU2 equals to 2 times V1 cos alpha 1 minus 3U minus 3 minus U minus 2U minus 3U as it is. Okay, so we have written the angle in terms of alpha 1. So let us substitute the value of delta VU2 in equation number 3. Using in equation number 3. In equation number 3. So I can write W2 work done per kg of steam by the second row of moving blade or runner is U by GC. U by GC. So here I have 2 here. So let me write 2 here only. 2U into V1 cos alpha 1 minus 3u as it is. V1 cos alpha 1 minus 3u as it is. Okay. So if we compare the equation W1 and W2, that is equation number 2, and let me give it as equation number 4 here. In order to get the total work obtained from both the stages, both the stages, we have to add equation number, the equation number, fine, the equation number 2 and equation number 4 here, equation number 2 and equation number 4. Total work obtained, write down total work done by runner, that is WT is equals to, WT is nothing but total work done by the runner per kg of steam, that is W1 plus W2. W1 plus W2. So here substitute the W1 and W2 in that equation. Right here 2u by Gc is common term. 2u by Gc. Let me take outside the bracket. So what is the term which is remaining inside the bracket? That is V1 cos alpha 1 minus u. V1 cos alpha 1 minus u plus V1 cos alpha 1 minus 3u. V1 cos alpha 1 minus 3u as it is. Okay. So Wt equals to 2u by Gc, 2u by Gc into, so V1 cos alpha 1 plus V1 cos alpha 1, that is 2V1 cos alpha 1. 2V1 cos alpha 1 minus u minus 3u is minus 4u. Minus 4u. Is that clear, all of you? Yes. Fine. Okay, guys. Okay. Now the next step, in order to get the value of blade efficiency, see here, I can take the 2 outside the bracket. So Wt equals to, let me take 2 outside the bracket, 2 to the 4, 4u by Gc into V1 cos alpha 1 minus 2u. Just I have taken 2 outside the bracket. Okay. So keep it as equation number 5. Keep it as equation number 5 here. Ultimately, what we want? We want the final equation for blade efficiency. Let us rub the board. Okay. Now I want the blade efficiency. Okay. So this is the total work obtained from the complete turbine, both the stages. So how to write the blade efficiency? Blade efficiency is given by, blade efficiency or diagram efficiency is given by neta B is equals to total work done per kg of steam by both the runners divided by the kinetic energy supplied per kg of steam. Kinetic energy supplied per kg of steam. Work done we know already, the equation 4u by Gc, 4u by Gc into V1 cos alpha 1 minus 2u as it is divided by the specific kinetic energy. It is given by V1 square by 2 Gc. V1 square by 2 Gc. The kinetic energy is half mv square. The specific kinetic energy or kinetic energy per unit mass is V1 square by 2. And Gc is a constant. It is a turbine constant, whose value is always equals to 1. So cancel this Gc here. Okay. So we can write the blade efficiency as, let me rub this, the blade efficiency as so I can write the blade efficiency as you can write the blade efficiency as, so take 2 to the numerator, so 2 into 4, that is 8u by V1 square into the bracket V1 cos alpha 1 minus 2u. V1 cos alpha 1 minus 2u here. Is that clear, guys? Okay. Now here I can multiply this denominator, that is V1, to the entire bracket here. So eta B, listen here carefully. So AU by V1, I'll keep one V1 outside the bracket and I'll multiply this another V1 to the denominator of the complete bracket term. So V1 cos alpha 1 by V1 minus 2 times U by V1 here. So we know that the ratio U by V1 is represented by the speed ratio phi. Phi is nothing but the speed ratio. Phi is nothing but the speed ratio. That is the tangential velocity of the runner divided by the absolute velocity of steam. This ratio is nothing but phi, speed ratio. So therefore, eta B blade efficiency is equals to 8 phi. U by V1 is 8 phi into V1 will get cancelled. So cos alpha 1 minus 2 times phi. Let us open the bracket by multiplying phi here. So eta B is equals to 8 as it is. Phi cos alpha 1 minus 2 phi square. Phi cos alpha 1 minus 2 phi square here, right? Now this is the blade efficiency of a two-stage impulse steam turbines here, right? Now, in order to get the condition for maximum blade efficiency, we have to differentiate this equation with respect to phi and equate it to 0, because here phi is only the variable, alpha 1 is constant, phi is only the variable. So we have to differentiate this complete equation with respect to phi and equate it to 0. So differentiating, so let us keep this as equation number capital 1. Okay, so it is Roman 1 here, Roman 1. Differentiating the above equation with respect to phi and equating it to 0. Equating it to 0. So I can write differentiation of eta B with respect to phi is equals to 0. Okay. Now here, which implies the differentiation of this complete term, so 8 as it is, into the differentiation of phi cos alpha 1, since cos alpha 1 is a constant term, minus 2 phi square, that is 4 phi, which is of course equals to 0. So upon simplification, I can write phi is equals to cos alpha 1 by 4 here. This is a condition for maximum blade efficiency of a two-stage impulse turbine. Phi should be equals to cos alpha 1 by 4, where alpha 1 is a nozzle angle. Alpha 1 is a nozzle angle. Now, if we substitute the phi equals to cos alpha 1 by 4 in equation number 1, so we can obtain the maximum blade efficiency, the final equation for maximum blade efficiency. Listen here carefully. Using the condition in equation number Roman 1. In equation Roman 1. So phi equals to cos alpha 1 by 4. So neta B, now the neta B will become neta B max, the maximum blade efficiency. The maximum blade efficiency. So here, 8 as it is, into phi is cos alpha 1 by 4, cos alpha 1 by 4, into cos alpha 1 as it is, cos alpha 1 minus 2 times, here phi square is there, cos square by 16, cos square alpha 1 by 16. So 4 4s are 16, cos square. Okay. Upon further simplification, I can write, so 2 8s are. So neta B max is equals to 8 as it is, into cos square alpha 1 by 4 minus cos square alpha 1 by 8. Cos square alpha 1 by 4, cos square alpha 1 by 8. So maximum blade efficiency equals to, so here just open the bracket and multiply this. So 2 cos square alpha 1 minus 8 will get cancelled. Here cos square alpha 1. So finally we are left with the maximum rate efficiency equals to cos square alpha 1. So this is the final equation for maximum rate efficiency, that is beta V max equals to cos square alpha 1. Sometimes he will ask in competitive examinations, what is a condition for maximum rate efficiency of two-stage impulse turbine? It is cos alpha 1 by 4. What is a condition for maximum rate efficiency of single-stage impulse turbine? For single stage, we have phi equals to cos alpha 1 by 2. Cos alpha 1 by 2. This is a condition for single stage, and this is a condition for two-stage impulse turbine. So these are the some expected questions which will be asked in the competitive examination. Okay, so with this, we have completed the derivation, the complete derivation on the condition for maximum rate efficiency of a two-stage impulse turbine. In the next classes, we will see some numericals on two-stage impulse turbine. We'll have the two types of numericals. So one will be asked in exam. First, in the first type, we have to start the solution from the first stage and end up with the second stage. That is a type 1 problem. In the type 2 problem, we need to start the numerical from second stage and we have to end up with the first stage. So starting step and the final step. That is in type 2 problem. So both the types are very important from your examination point of view. Compulsorily, there will be one question on graphical method, either on single stage or two-stage impulse turbine. Okay, so that will be seen in the next class. Okay. So if you are not subscribed my channel yet, so kindly like, share, and subscribe my channel so that I can upload more and more number of videos in upcoming in your days. Okay, so thank you. So if you have any doubts anywhere, you can contact me personally. My WhatsApp number is 988653907 for any queries. So if you want any notes or question banks, just put your message in the comment box or you can WhatsApp. Okay, thank you and have a great day.